love to hear about your experience, but also obviously what you're leading from a chief people officer perspective around how you will onboard employees remote employees successfully.
Yeah, I was super curious to see for myself how it would work to onboard remotely, as I had been doing it for a couple years prior to joining Yelp. And I will be honest, I didn't feel disadvantaged at all. In fact, what I found on the candidate side was, also true on the other side of the desk, that the process itself can be much more expeditious. It can be more inclusive, like as you think about the interviewing process. And so I think that enabled me to probably have more touch points into the organization before I started, as well as just an easier experience. And it was certainly the timeline was more compressed. And then for onboarding, similarly, I've had large global roles for the last 10 or so years of my career. And so if you think about the way that would have gone prior to being in a remote environment, like you'd hop on a plane, you'd go to the various locations, you'd meet the people, and that would take a couple of months to do. I just was delighted because it fast forwarded that so much. And I think it, again, leveled the playing field. I was able to connect with people very quickly. You removed the geographic barriers. I didn't feel disadvantaged at all in terms of being able to build relationships with folks. And so, it also, like from a chief people officer seat, it gave me the opportunity to go through the process like a new employee of Yelp would, and really get that bird's eye perspective. So I'm actually one of two C-suite leaders that Yelp has onboarded since we've gone remote, and who are located outside of the Bay Area. So our team has gotten more distributed as well, and it seems to be working quite well.
And out of curiosity, again, if you think about employee engagement, was obviously you talked about, part of the reason you've moved to remote working is because you actually asked employees what their preferences were. Are you finding any differences in the level of employee engagement since Yelp shifted to remote first?
So as we compare our surveys year over year, when we look at the most recent engagement survey from 2021 to our survey earlier in 2022, we actually saw a 5-point increase in employee engagement. And we saw a double-digit increase in intent to stay, which, is really meaningful, and was great to see. And our employees continue to tell us that this is their strong preference. So I would say all of the indicators have been really positive. That our employees tell us that they are able to take advantage of the time that they don't spend commuting to focus on their family, or to get a workout in, or to do other things that are meaningful to them in terms of work-life fit. And then we've also tried to really help them set good boundaries around work and life by giving them some tools. And this is always a challenge, right? I think being in a remote work environment, I think one of the challenges can be that the workday can spread from dawn to dusk and beyond if you're not careful about that. So really trying to give them the tools through things like core working hours, really being very mindful of meetings and time zones, and encouraging leaders to make sure we're recording meetings and that folks aren't attending after hours if they don't need to be. So I think those are the things that we've been trying to do to continue to support employee engagement as we're remote.
In this series, we will be speaking to a range of senior leaders who are pushing a data-driven and digital HR agenda. Make sure that you subscribe via your podcast app of choice, and also via our YouTube channel for free and regular interviews with the digital HR leaders of the future.